What's happening, everybody, and welcome to this latest episode of the Endless Celts Podcast. I'm delighted to be joined by show regulars Ross and Francis. How you boys doing?
Good, mate. Good performance tonight, so I'm quite happy.
Yep, fantastic. And absolutely delighted to welcome back our host, Stephen. Welcome back, mate. How you doing?
I'm doing fine. Glad to be back on. I've been chopping at the bit, but obviously personal things and all come up, and just ready to get stuck in, boys.
Yeah, no, absolutely, mate. We're happy to have you back. Obviously, I'm still hosting this episode at the minute, but you're joining us to just quickly talk about the game. We've just obviously seen Celtic take a 3-0 victory against Jablonec, the second leg. Obviously, this is recorded on the Thursday night to go out Friday lunchtime, but fresh off the back of the game, let's just dive head first into it. I'll come to yourself first, Stephen. Let's give you a wee moment in the sun here. What just your wee welcome back. What was your thoughts on the game overall, mate?
I thought that, from the weekend's game tonight, I think it's fantastic the way we're playing. You can see certainly the Postecoglou imprint coming on, and the likes of Kyogo, he makes a fantastic difference to the team, especially pressing from the front. The team are winning the ball high up the pitch, they're creating chances, albeit tonight there was a couple of times where the final ball was too heavy, the kind of link-up play wasn't there as it was in the weekend's game against Dundee, but Kyogo had that one-on-one. You seen what he was trying to do, but the keeper read it. Turnbull was fantastic. He took his 2 goals fantastically well, especially the second one from outside the box, the dip in that ball to go in the bottom corner. And then the Edward chance at the end where he kind of fluffed it and Forrest ran in and got the goal. That's kind of how Adaba's been playing. When I seen the lineup, I was quite concerned that Adaba wasn't starting. Hopefully it's not a bad knock and he's back for the weekend's game against Hearts, because I'll be at that game, so I want to see him play in the flesh. And I think overall, John, the team's playing fantastically well. What I'm liking, and it pains me to say it because I had a big issue with me saying Joe Hart. I just thought, do you know what I mean? I was like, nah, I don't want this guy. But he's made a big difference to the centre halves. And when he made them saves, they were celebrating with him. The crowd was cheering. And it seems like to me his experience has kind of calmed the centre halves down, and that kind of bodes well for the future anyway.
No, you're 100% right.
Still my catchphrase again.
I was trying to see if you'd catch that, but no, you're absolutely spot on, Stephen. And I thought it was quite telling actually when Hart made day saves, the way you seen the players react. Really, they obviously over congratulating them, and just it shows you that the something they didn't have in Barkas and Bain was confidence, and that was evident. But that also shows you what having an experienced and a quality keeper between the sticks can actually do. They kind of saves turn games around, and I thought they were phenomenal. But touching on your other points, obviously, as I said, you're absolutely spot on. I think that the way we've been playing is absolutely fantastic, and hopefully, like I said before, it's still early days, and we've still got a lot of learning to do in terms of that style of play, but you can certainly see it progressing with each game. I know the scoreline wasn't necessarily high scoring. However, we did dominate possession for the majority of the game. We certainly created a lot of chances. And just coming to yourself, Franny, you're a wee bit static in your mic, mate, I think. But what was your overall thoughts of the game?
I thought it was a good performance. Just like what Stephen said, following on from Sunday's game, we could see us try to play the more how we're going to be playing going forward with the high press and stuff, the high energy. So it was good to see, obviously, being like a European tie, like we 2-leg thing, we obviously had the 4-2 advantage when we scored that first goal. I thought the team still done a lot of running, but it was just obviously natural. You get that free goal lead, I feel like, in the tie, just momentum, maybe just natural sort of order. You kind of take the foot off the gas ever so slightly and stuff. But there were some really good performances. Callum McGregor again was good. I thought Starfelt is getting better as he goes on. I think it's no coincidence he's playing next to centre half than in front of a guy like Joe Hart, who again makes two great saves. I think in the context of the game, if they go in, you're probably not too concerned, but I think for his confidence it's great. And then Kyogo again looks sharp, and Forrest looks sharp. Taylor and Ralston again, great performances, and it's good to see Turnbull back. So yeah, it was all in all, it was no complaints again, really good, and another good performance.
Yeah, absolutely. I think one of the main things that we can take for this, at least from my perspective, is everybody's performing relatively well and they're starting to gel, and that's evident. You mentioned obviously having Turnbull back. Obviously, there was earlier in the season, some of the games he was playing, he looked a shadow of the player he was last season. But he's starting to come into his game, and I think today was probably his best game in a Celtic jersey for me. Just his passing, the boy's awareness and his ability to create something out of nothing with his passing is phenomenal, and obviously to score 2 fantastic goals as well today, well earned man of the match for me. But like you said, everybody, I think Starfelt's starting to settle a bit. You can see we've got another quality defender there. Some things, like the slide tackle in the second half, midway through the second half. It was a wee bit put you on the edge of your seat, but for the majority of the game, he never put a foot wrong. And like I said, that you can see the team starting to. There's the need of confidence about everybody. They're starting to play together, and it's certainly shaping up to be an exciting season. Ross, what was your thoughts on the game, mate, and what you've seen tonight?
I just sort of similar to what the guys have said and yourself. Thought it was an accomplished professional performance, really. Started the game really well, high energy, pressing for the front. Just the way they're attacking, there's a bit of an echo here.
There's a lot of background noise. I think it's coming from Fran's end.
It sounds like someone's throwing bricks at Francis's windows.
No.
If it doesn't start muting his mic, it's going to be me. I
sort of lost my train of thought there because I thought there was an earthquake or something.
Carry on, sorry.
As I say, it was a professional performance. They defended, for the front. Kyogo, he got that chance early on, like he's touched on. Maybe just came a wee bit early in the game, but I thought that there was no real outstanding performer apart from maybe Turnbull. Everybody else, it was. I like the way they're attacking. They played with the same energy as Sunday, but maybe just it just lacked the cutting edge that Sunday had. But I mean, you're not going to play as good as what you played on Sunday all the time. But I mean, that's another 3 goals a night. I know it's Dundee, it's Jablonec, but it's 9 goals at home now without reply. So, like you have touched on, the defence is getting a bit more steady. It's like you have said, it's no coincidence that steadiness is coming with Hart coming into the team, and he's made 2 big saves tonight. Albeit it's the context of the tie, it probably wouldn't have changed it much, but he's still got to make the saves, and his job is to keep the ball out the net, and that's another clean sheet. So it just puts confidence through that back line. Welsh is playing well alongside Starfelt. So all in all, another good night, and we move on to the AZ Alkmaar now. Hopefully we get another couple of guys in the door before that tie comes around.
Yeah, no, definitely. I think we can all agree Alkmaar is going to be a much tougher game than Jablonec. I mean, they're well known. They're a top Dutch side. There's no secret about it. I think, and you'd be kidding yourself if you're thinking we're just going to walk at the top of them. But that's what we've got to look forward to. But as you mentioned, Ross, I mean, if you look at it, and you want to just sort of, I mean, that's 13 goals in 3 games, and that's pretty decent considering there was points last season where we weren't scoring any goals across 3 games, and it got quite ridiculous, and we were struggling to score. But now we're scoring goals quite regularly, and that's something we obviously want to see continue going forward.
Teams up. So I'm just saying, and opening teams up at will, really. We're not taking our chances. We're making chances constantly throughout the game.
That's it, mate. And I think that's one of the most exciting things that we're seeing with Ange's style and what he's trying to implement. And like I say, this is still very early days. So imagine when everything clicks, once we've got the team in and we've got a starting 11, everybody's settled, and they're much more familiar with each other, and they've been playing this way for a number of games. It's going to be certainly going to be very interesting to see. Just, I mean, as we touched on this before as well, I think that the damage we're going to do to some of these teams in the SPFL is going to be significant. But I mean, it's still early days yet, as it says. I just want to touch on the performance of Christie quickly, boys. Now, we obviously, Christie's, since Andrew's come in, he's found his form again. He's playing as good as we've seen him play since Rodgers was here. They obviously, against Dundee, some of his passing was absolutely incredible. His touches were great, but tonight he was all over the park. He was still putting 100% into it, but he just never had that, as you touched on, Ross, that cutting edge, that final pass. Passes seem to be a little bit too heavy, and on another night, if they passes are weighted perfectly, then there's certainly a lot more goals in that side. What did you make of his performance overall, and do you think that, I mean, he's obviously the name in terms of his contract. What do you expect for Christie at the minute? Firstly, his performance tonight, and do you think that it's sort of getting him on a new contract is something we should be pursuing heavily? Stephen?
I knew you were going to come to me first. I just knew it. I mean,
well, I couldn't have been anybody else giving your criticisms of Christie lately. But...
I mean, Christie, for me, the last 3 games where he's in the team, he's been a big talking point, and it's all for good reasons. Not like last season where we were all criticising him, especially me and his gigantic head at some points. But I mean, this season when he's been playing off the left, he's been fantastic. The only concern for me is he playing for a move? Why is he not signed that new contract? Because Postecoglou's come out and said he would like to keep him. Surely that's enough for Ryan Christie to put pen to paper for at least another 2-year extension with a view to moving on down the line. But I mean, if he's going to play like that week in, week out, why don't we keep him? Why don't we put the contract on the table, make the decision his, and then if he doesn't want to stay, I can't agree with someone playing to the end of their contract knowing they're not going to be at the club. If he's going to give that effort and sign for Celtic again, by all means keep him in the team. But the only concern for me, as I said, is he playing for that move? Is that why he's giving all his effort? Because we've seen Christie last season, it was all about him. I know his instructions were to shoot on sight, and Postecoglou's changed them types of instructions to him in regards to passing, bringing Kyogo into play. I think him and Kyogo's relationship has the potential to be quite dangerous. It's, you know what I mean? It's quite tasty watching them play together, and then a dabble on the right as well. Touching upon one thing in regards to the midfield in general, people were calling out for a midfield enforcer, a midfield kind of battle axe hardened type midfielder, like with what Liam Shaw would be in pre-season, but it doesn't look like he's going to feature much. The way the midfield's playing at the moment, the rotation, Cal McGregor dropping deep, Turnbull doing the same thing, playing that quarterback role, I don't really see a need for an enforcer now at the minute. I think the rotation in the midfield is fantastic. Rodgers has come on the game, and that's good to see. But the Christie thing, he's been fantastic, yes, but he needs to show his commitment to Celtic. That's where I stand on that.
I think you make a valid point, but it's an awkward one because I mean you don't see many contracts that run out mid-season.
Yeah, that's
it's weird for me. I just don't get it. How did that even come about in the first place? Like, where are you getting 6-month extensions for, or getting a year and a half contracts?
Did he sign it? I don't know.
What was that?
Did he sign it under Neil Lennon? Potentially could have. Like I don't know.
I don't know. It's just something you don't ever see. It generally just runs season to season, which makes it puts us in an even worse position because if you're putting a new contract down in front of him and he decides I'm not signing this, I'm definitely leaving in January, and he's got options. You want to try and utilise him for at least the first half of the season through till January, but at the same time, you know he's not going to be there after January. Do you start looking now to try and get or try he's a replacement rather than wait until January? It's quite a difficult one. And I think it's something that we need to sort out before the end of this month. We've got another 3 weeks maybe before the window shuts. So I think it's something we should probably try and get resolved as quickly as possible, at least for me, because as you said, Stephen, he needs to show commitment. I'd love him to stay if he's going to continue playing like this. His partnership with Kyogo and etc. Could be fantastic. Based on taking all that into consideration, Francis, what's your thoughts on? First of all, let's just touch on his performance today. and then obviously his contract situation and where we stand with him.
Well, John, I'm not happy with his performance today because, as you boys know, I had him to score 2+ goals on my bet, and so I'm not best pleased with the guy. But he had another good performance. I think he struggled at times to beat his man tonight, but obviously that comes down to him not being a natural wide player, if you like, and the boys probably got a wee bit more pace. But yeah, it's just his performances of late have been brilliant. It's the Christie of old under Rodgers, and right now he's probably one of the first names on the team sheet. So, like you, I would love him to sign a new deal. I would love it, but it's otherwise. I think we need to try and, hate to say it, I think you need to try and get rid of him and see if you can get some cash. Because what's the point in him playing? I may sound stupid, but what's the point in him playing like this for 6 months to leave in January? I don't think that benefits Celtic in that sense. I think we need to be a wee bit selfish and say, look, or speak to him, see what the contract is he's wanting. I dare say it won't be astronomical, it won't be stupid. The guy seems like he's playing like he wants to be at Celtic. He's not playing like he's trying to get away, if you like. Even if he said, look, go and sign 2 years and we'll sell you next summer, try and get some money out of it. But I think for Celtic's sake, we need to get him tied down in a deal so we know at least for this season that we're going to have a committed Christie. Otherwise, it's just come January, you've got a problem, I feel, if you don't get him to sign the contract.
That's what I was saying. Like his contract situation puts us in a really awkward position because, like you say, if this was anybody else, January would be the point where they'd be on the last 6 months, and then they're free to speak to clubs and contracts, pre-contracts, and everything else. But you've still got him for the season then, and then it's like you can plan for that because it's like he's going to be committed. He'll be there for the year. And then, like post-season, you can just sort of start looking at other players, getting people in. You can deal with that at that point. But because his contract runs out in January, that we're already in that 6 month window, and he's going to be free to speak to clubs and sign a pre-contract. So, and then clubs know as well. Like, and he'll know. Like, come January, he could be playing elsewhere. So, and they're still going for any other club looking for it. I'm still going for half a season on a free transfer, so it puts us in a very, very awkward situation, Ross. Now, again, I want to obviously highlight his performance tonight again because, like he says, he's been playing fantastic for us the past couple of games, but we can't just kind of like paint over the cracks, so to speak. This contract situation with Christie is obviously paramount. Where do you stand on it?
Again, it's a funny one. You want him to sign. Did I hear Postecoglou saying the other day that there's an offer on the table for him, or if Celtic made him an offer?
I'm not sure if they've made him or looking at an offer, Ross. I'm not sure. I think he's mentioned it, but I think it has been mentioned, some sort of contract either.
I thought I heard Postecoglou saying in an interview the other day that there was an offer there for him. Whether he's mulling over that, whether he's mulling over it or no, I don't know. But he looks, certainly on the park, the way he's playing, the way he is with the other players, it looks like he wants to be there. And I think, well, Postecoglou's made no secret. Like, if you want to be here, then you're way me. If you don't, then I've not got time to waste trying to convince you. So I don't know if Postecoglou has just like put it out there what he wants for him, and the sort of ball is in his court at the minute, and they're giving him to near. I don't think they're going to get rid of him in this window. There doesn't seem to be any bids coming in for him, and I think that's mainly down to people are thinking, well, we could get him for nothing in 6 months, so we'll just bide our time if he doesn't. So at Celtic, I don't think they should have let the contract get to this point, but then if they have put an offer on the table, it's not really their fault if Christie's no signed, and there's nothing they can do if there's no bids coming in. So it is a funny one, and like you say, for it to like run out mid-season is weird. I mean, I'm the way Christie's playing now, I'm desperate for him to sign on again. Whether he will remains to be seen, but it seems to me like the ball is maybe in his court and he's still mulling over a decision. I don't know if he's speaking with family or whatever. You just don't know. But hopefully by the end of the window, we get it all nailed down, because we didn't want to be sitting, like you say, in January with a guy that's, well, going to leave, and then he's basically, for this first 6 months of the season, been a mainstay and an integral part of the starting 11, and then all of a sudden he's no there. So it's no ideal. We'll just need to see what happens, really.
Yeah, that's exactly what I'm saying. It was like, I mean, the longer if let's say that hypothetically, then a contract is out on the table, and he's mulling it over, right? We're 2 and a bit, 3 weeks away from the end of the window. You've got potentially, if he drags this out for another couple of weeks, that's shortening our window in terms of getting in a player who could potentially come in as his replacement, because you'd want somebody in as early as possible. If you know he's definitely no signing and he's leaving in January, for me, you're going to need somebody to come in and take up that position on the left, which is something we've no got really at the minute as it stands. And I think it's paramount, obviously, that I don't know whether you guys agree, but for me, that you need to try and push him and press him to make a decision, like what you doing, are you signing or am I right in saying, is it Christie's dad or his uncle or some family relatives, his agent?
I think it's his dad.
His dad, I think.
It's his dad. See, that's another thing that sort of complicates matters, because as we know previously, his dad's been kind of touting him to leave and wants him to obviously go and play down in England and things like that. So you got to wonder, like, how long are they going to drag? This is another thing. How long are they going to drag this out for? But I mean, I'd love him to stay. Like I says, if he can keep up this level of performance, it's a guy you want in your team. He's one of the first names on the team sheet if he continues like this, and like I says, the partnership he could form with the style of football we're playing as well with Kyogo, etc., could be perfect for us. Another performance, another player rather, I just want to touch on briefly in today's game was Kyogo. Obviously, the man at the moment. He scores his Parkhead hat-trick on his debut, and I think we were expecting a lot more from him tonight. Not taking anything away from him, because I think you just need to watch him and see his movement, and his willingness to run and chase balls, and his energy levels and everything else. He had that chance rather at the very start of the half. He obviously tried to dummy the direction he was going to the keeper, but the keeper kind of spread himself well, made himself big, and caught Kyogo out, and it didn't amount to anything. Then he had his goal chopped off, which it was chopped off for offside, but looking at the replays that we've seen, albeit close, for me, he was onside. It might not be by much, but he's definitely onside. And in that circumstance, surely, as we've mentioned, you need to give the striker benefit of the doubt. Just coming to yourself first, Stephen. What did you make of Kyogo's performance? I know we're all sort of waxing lyrical about him at the minute, and we can see great things coming from him. And this is obviously the fact he didn't score the night is nothing against him. But what did you make of his performance? What do you make of the offside chance? And Jablonec's players seemed to target him later on in the game, and it was leaving him on the park could have potentially been an injury risk.
I think, first of all, Kyogo makes me smile. He's so infectious. the guy for the whole game, he's smiling, he's running. He never looks out of breath, never looks tired. He could go on for 90 plus minutes quite easily. I think one thing you guys spoke about on the last podcast, Laura Bradburn brought it up, the midfield players aren't quite his level yet in terms of matching his runs. You've seen it during the game where he's making darting runs and players aren't really seeing that yet, but I do obviously expect Turnbull and McGregor slowly but surely to get on that same wavelength as Kyogo. But for me, he sets the tone for the whole team. See pressing from the front, and all joking aside, obviously, but he has more effort in his big toe than Edward. Edward comes on after Kyogo, and there was an instant drop in how Celtic played for me. Kyogo, he was a buzz bomb. He was challenging for tackles. He was closing their centre backs down. And you're right, John. At the end, they targeted him because they didn't know what else to do with him. They didn't know how to defend against him. He was dropping short, coming deep, making runs from out the end on the left-hand side, right-hand side. He was everywhere. And it's a joy to watch. It's a joy to see a Celtic player play with that smile, play with that heart, that passion, the aggression. And not an aggression in a bad way, but aggression in a way he wants to win the ball. He wants to score goals. And the offside chance, I mean, obviously on the link I was watching on, I paid for the pay-per-view. It didn't really show you the correct kind of angles for it, the offside, but I think you're correct. It would have been minimal if he was offside, and usually, obviously, it goes in favour of the striker. He finished it well. I mean, he just has this knack of knowing where to be. He makes them runs that we don't see Edward making, and to even a certain extent, Yeti, he doesn't. I mean, Yeti has. He turns like a horse. There's no really effort in Yeti as well. No, he started pre-season well, but it kind of concerns me a bit when you bring on Edward and you see that drop in terms of the aggression and the press. I know it was 3-0 at the time, but you still want to see that from the backup striker. And yes, that's where I'm classing Edward at the moment behind Kyogo. And do we need another striker do we need another striker to come in and kind of challenge Kyogo in terms of the same kind of player? It's just a wee bit concerning seeing that drop in the performance when Edward comes on.
Well, I mean, if you're taking the transfer rumours into consideration, that might even well be the case. We'll get to that in a minute. Franny, what about yourself? What did you make of Kyogo's performance tonight in that offside or the goal that got chopped off for offside?
Well, the offside got similar to Stephen. It was he didn't get great angles, so it looked rather tight anyway. So would have liked him to get the benefit out, but that's a selfish sort of a thing. I think I'm saying that, but it was another pleasing performance for him. He obviously didn't get his goal and stuff. Had a good chance. It was saved with the keeper read it. Well, it was almost similar to like his hat-trick goal at the weekend. But it's like Stephen said, just that pressing for the front, his energy just is infectious. The crowd seem to thrive off it. The team clearly thrive off it. And I know you kind of say it's a cliche thing to say to defend from the front, but he does. He is doing that. He's defending for the front. I think there was one time, it was in the first half, he actually was in his own half defending, and then seconds later he was up in the other end of the park just trying to help out the attack. So it does look a bundle of energy, like never looks tired, looks like he can keep going. But I think he'll get, like, obviously the hat-trick's great. You can't ask for a better start than Sunday for him at home and stuff, and our expectations are maybe have gone to skyrocketed a wee bit off that, but we've also got to kind of cut the guy some slack. And it's obviously just the first time he's playing in a European league, if you like, and playing over in Europe, so he might have indifferent type performances. Not that I thought tonight was indifferent performance. I thought he was doing well, and like Stephen made a great point where you can see he makes real intelligent runs, and unfortunately David Turnbull and McGregor, the great respect to him, and Christie, and that they're no Iniesta at the end of the day. I know Iniesta's a fair age, but he's still got that in his locker, and he never lost that eye for a pass and being able to play that pass. So once they kind of get that understanding, you'll obviously see a lot better. But I just think his running he never seems to stop, and it's never like 100-mile-an-hour sprints. It just seems to, it looks all simple to him. He's always on the move, and it's just maybe just a wee change of pace and he's away, and I'm really excited by him going forward. He looks a real player, and I don't like Stephen said, when you see Edward coming on, they're two different types of players, but Edward was doing similar stuff a couple of years ago, so there's no reason why the standard or level of performance should drop. If anything, it should go up, because by all accounts Edward is a better player than Kyogo on what we have seen. But yeah, I've absolutely Kyogo is the number one striker, and he has to be, and yeah, it was another good performance by him.
Yeah, definitely. Ross, would you agree with that?
I love the guy. I love watching him playing football. I love just everything that he's bringing to the table at the minute. He's just he plays with so much energy. You just know that he loves playing football, and he wants to be at this great club that we all love. And again, he carried on. Certainly in the early part of the game, he carried on his performance for Dundee with his energy and his runs, and he just occupies defenders the whole time he's on the pitch. And he opens up spaces for Turnbull and Christie and Forrest and whoever's on the park at the time to run into these spaces and affect the game. But I didn't want to say he fell away the night, but there was that physicality for the Jablonec players, like Stephen touched on. They were getting a bit rough, and I think that's why he was taken off in the end, because, well, we could all clearly see the tie was won at that point. So it was a good bit of management getting him off the park at that time. keep him for the future games that are going to be important big games. We don't want to lose a guy like that, and especially like you say when you bring Edward on and there's the drop off. I don't think you can expect Edward to play with the same energy. I don't think that buzzing about is his game. He likes to pick the ball up, maybe he's back to goal, link up the play, and make runs off his link up play and into the box and stuff. But I'm loath to say that I don't know if Edward suits Postecoglou's style. As I think he's obviously no working as hard as what he used to, but he's a very, very, very good player, Edward, on his day.
Oh, clearly.
But whether he suits that high energy, like everybody working hard, I don't think that's his game, pressing like that and getting for the front, pressing high energy all the time. But I mean, I don't know. I don't want to say he's not suited to the style, but I think that the way Celtic are playing now, Kyogo is more suited to the style.
Definitely. Ross, I mean I think that's a very fair and valid assessment. I mean, like you say, is what we've seen. We know Edward's a talented player, and what we've seen for Edward is he likes the ball coming through to him to his feet, playing his back to goal, maybe turning or maybe like if he's got a wee bit of space to try and take a man, etc. And he likes playing in the box, but or just out the box and moving in and linking in play, like you said. But he doesn't have the same energy levels as Kyogo, and this is playing a style of football that's a much more higher tempo, higher energy, and utilising your width more. Obviously means that Edward's not being brought into the game the same way he was previously, and when you're moving the balls into the box like that, his chances are more limited, I would say, and it definitely suits Kyogo, at least from my perspective. But like you said, we know how talented he is, but it definitely looks like he's on his way out. And I just going back to what you mentioned earlier as well about bringing in another striker to compete. And by all accounts, if you believe the current transfer rumours, which we're just going to touch on,
Rumour mill.
We know we love a rumour here in Paper Talk. So, so currently then, what was it? Thomas Henry. I don't know if it's just Henry or Henry.
It's got to be Henry, surely. It's got to be Henry.
It has to be Henry. But by all accounts, this is another striker that we're linked with. What is he meant to be? 6'4", 6'5", something like that. Tall guy, strong, good in the air. And he's been back in Leuven. Is it Leuven he plays for?
So you say it.
Yeah, he's scoring a good amount of goals in the appearances he's making. So, but on paper, he certainly looks like a top player, and this is one name we're linked with. What's your guys, Stephen? I'll come to you first. Just looking at that name, obviously we still need to. In fact, just before we touch on Henry, let's just quickly touch on this right back situation. We've been linked with 6-7 different right backs at this point. And just when you think maybe we're getting somebody on the line, it turns out that's not happening. And again, this is what happens when you start believing in all the media talk and everything else, and nothing's concrete. So there was Soppy, there was the boy who ended up at Galatasaray. There was Buta. What was the other boy's name that started with a B?
Bustos.
Bustos, aye. There's Kuto, Jan Kuto, who, if Sky Sports reported today that we've apparently made another loan offer for.
Is that the Man City guy?
The Man City, the Brazilian boy, plays right back. So we know the right back situation is one of the ones with the one area of the park, and like all respect and fairness to Ralston, he's made that shirt his own. And the guys commenting on the game of the day say that it's up to him to try and keep it. He's not put a foot wrong since he came in. We've said on this podcast that we don't think Ralston is the guy going forward. But I mean, we can't fault him. He's playing for the jersey. He's putting 100% into every game, and he's, like you said, he's not put a foot wrong. But we need depth in that area. He needs competition, and it's one thing we've no got. So looking at obviously the situation with the right back and all the names we've been linked with, In fact, is there no another right back we've been linked with?
Josip Juranovic.
Juranovic, the
Croatian.
Croatian boy.
Aye.
Yeah.
And again, another one, Croatian international, great pedigree, would be a fantastic signing if we can make it happen. That rumour picked up some pace over the past few days. So, like I say, we don't know where we stand, and we're going to hear names linked left, right, and centre. But I think that we can all agree we just need to get the right back thing tied down as quickly as possible and stop this dragging out. So, looking at the right back, obviously, all the names that have been linked with, obviously this Thomas Henry, the striker, and other such name. How do you pronounce his name?
Itakura, I would say. Aye, that's how I say it anyway.
Itakura. As another one. What's your thoughts, Stephen? Coming to you. What's your thoughts on the names we've been linked with, and how are you feeling about the fact this right back situation's still not been resolved yet?
Well, I kind of agree with what you're saying. I mean, Ralston has played 5 games in a row and competitive games. He looks good, but at the end of the day, he's not the Celtic right back. And I mean, he has scored 2 goals in 3 games and stuff like that, and people can say he's adapted to the style. And do you know what I mean? But this guy is there to fill a gap. And that's being harsh, but he's there to fill a gap. He knows in the back of his head that his time's going to be up soon, and he might be in the team when a new right back comes for a while, but once they adapt, and then it'll switch around to him being second or third choice. I mean, the most likelihood option I can see here is the Man City right back coming in, Kyogo. Is that correct?
Yeah.
I can see him. Yeah, I can see him coming in on loan potentially with the Croatian right back coming in for, I think it was reported around €3 million. Celtic have made a bid for him, and you can see them two kind of fighting it out. The Ektura signing, he was playing for Japan at the Olympics. Yeah, and by all accounts, he's got good pedigree. He was playing for Groningen in the Dutch league, and he was a regular starter there. So I mean, you can kind of see that, especially for Kyogo, that could be a type of bond for him in terms of kind of getting used to the style and used to the way Celtic play. And Postecoglou seems to trust the Japanese market, and it's something I'm excited to see him bring more of to Celtic if he can do that, if it's possible. I haven't been on in a while, and I just don't understand why Celtic signed Jason McCarthy, and I'm being totally honest about that. It's a 4-year deal for a 30-year-old, 31-year-old. He hasn't played much football in the past 3 years. I thought that them wages could have went to someone else potentially, and I mean, by all accounts, he has a good pedigree in the past, but injuries have kind of hampered him. I don't know where he's standing. I just don't think it's a good signing at all. I'll be proved wrong probably, and maybe eat my words later in the year. But I mean, I think as well the Thomas Henry signing, that's exciting. I think we need a striker with presence, and by all accounts he's been dubbed the Jamie Vardy of the Belgian league, and I don't know if he has the pace of Jamie Vardy but if he scores like him, I'll take that all day long. And I seen Jack Hendry coming out saying he dominated him in the Belgian league. He found him no problem, but you take that with a pinch of salt, don't you? Really, he's playing for a team. He's playing for a team in the Belgian league. He don't really get a sniff at any trophies, and he's still scoring 15 plus goals a season, and I think that's what we need. And then you obviously maybe see Edward move on to Brighton, Ayadi coming in as third choice, and you look at that, maybe a left winger added into that, and you can kind of go forward a wee bit, maybe into the next transfer window and look for a left back. I just don't think you're going to sort every position out. Yeah,
I mean, like I say, the clock's ticking, and the longer and longer it drags out, the less time we've got to get things over the line. I know Ange repeatedly says it in the media, and I think we all love him for it. He calls the board out, and he makes he lets the fans know it's like we're trying, and he makes them aware we need to get it done quick. We need to get it done quick, and he's promised it, and I believe him. And I believe that things are happening behind the scenes myself. It's just that I really, really want the right back thing tied up and dusted as quickly as possible. But watch this. In typical fashion, at some point next week we'll end up with 3 right backs out the blue. But I mean, that's obviously me being optimistic and taking the mantle for Ross about the being positive. Just coming to yourself, Ranny. What about you in the names that are linked, the right back situation and the like say Henry and Akura and stuff like that?
The Croatian boy Juranovic, he does excite me. I mean, I remember him briefly for the Euros. I mean, he played the full game against Scotland and that, and I've watched some like YouTube clips, and I know I've touched on it before about the YouTube clips, and you'll hardly find a bad one unless it's I've been formerly informed by Willie that if you look up Amido Baldi's, that's about the only bad YouTube video you'll find. But so like he looks really good. He looks like he suits the style because he can sort of play that sort of the inside, like how Ralston and Taylor wants. Postecoglou wants his right and left back to come out in the middle of the park. He does that, but his delivery is really good. I think he's got like 14 assists last season and stuff, and his assist thing's quite high, so that's good and stuff. So yeah, it comes with good pedigree, and it's probably a good market for us to look at. It's sort of that Eastern European type market, because there could be deals to get like that year and over. I mean, he's in the last year of his contract, so, and then they've just League of Warsaw's just been put out of the Champions League, I think it was. So there is probably a deal there to be done, and by all accounts, the rumour mill says we're one step away, but it could be a massive step. We really don't know and stuff. But yeah, Itakura, I think could be a good sign. Like I like the idea again. It's a loan because Stephen Welsh, I don't feel has put a foot wrong. But if you get like Itakura in on loan, it allows Julian to sort of take his time coming back, providing your man Itakura actually performs well and stuff. So it would help ease Julian back in.
Julian's had enough time.
Aye, but it's a knee. I know he's had enough time, but it's a knee injury. You just don't know how guys are going to come back.
Nah,
so
you're right.
The longer you can sort of
experience there, Fry.
I mean, I've done it twice. There. I'm like, phenomenal. So the longer you can sort of aid
Did you not have that same haircut as well?
Worse. Probably worse. So it's a good, and if it seems like the Itakura one is a loan deal, but again, rumours are it's Man City want a quite ridiculous loan fee around about 4 million. But I think that a lot of that's the fact that his contract's out next summer, so they probably know they're not going to keep him on, so they're maybe just going to try and make some money. So I think a loan deal, if you can get a decent price on the loan, I don't think a 4 million loan deal's something you kind of do. You'd want a better player than that for 4 million on loan. But if you could actually get him on loan, you could technically be trialling him for 6 months. If he hits the ground right, plays well, you can go right in January, right? There's a pre-contract just so you've got him already. You've got him in for the season. Then come January, he knows he's where he is for the following season. So I think that could be quite a smart move if it works out. And then
a good shout.
The guy Henry, he again, it's another one that excites me, but without knowing much about him, he's tall, physical, totally different from what we've got. So there'll be chances to play different systems if you like. Maybe play 2 up top, maybe play 1 up top in Europe where Kyogo's not really suited. You're not going to get the ball a lot, and he can maybe hold it up. And he's got a great scoring record at Leuven. So it's a guy that you'd expect to he doesn't need time to bed in, but you just never know. He might need a wee bit. So it could be good. I mean, he reminds me a bit like Hesselink, just a tall guy. He's not the fast, but he knows his way to go. He's got an eye for goal and knows how to score and stuff. And I think one of the key things with the 3 guys that we're just kind of touching on is like they're all like 24, 25, 26 or something. So they're all good ages coming at the peak years. And I think that's good because we have got a wee bit a relatively young team. So it'd be good to get these key positions in and guys that are fairly experienced, like seasoned pros. So their name, well, I don't know if their names excite me because I don't know them. Let's be honest, don't know them. But their sort of a profile excites me.
Yeah, now I understand what you're saying. I think it's hard for us to say really for many of them, whether we know them or not. And like you says, for a lot of us, unless you're watching these leagues regularly, which is I highly doubt, YouTube is probably your go-to for highlights and stuff like that. And again, these compilation videos that you see are made up of their best bits, and
it's usually for their agents as well.
You don't usually see the bigger picture. But just coming to yourself, Ross, again, just same question. What's your or feelings rather on the situation with the right back and or rather lack of right backs coming in, and the boys were being linked to at the minute?
Well, first of all, like I agree with Franny. when he says about their ages, like 24, 25, 26. I think that's the sort of, we've brought in 2 in their 30s there. We've got a lot of young boys. I think that's the sort of age level we want to be targeting now, just to give that balance in the squad throughout. But as regards, I don't know a lot about all these guys we're linked to, and that's the truth. And like I've said previously, I don't get too caught up in like reading up more of these rumours. I just like to see who comes in and then watch the guy performing in a Celtic jersey and make my draw my conclusions then after a few performances or whatever. But I think probably the most pleasing thing for me is not the players, because you don't know much about them, but the areas of the park that they're targeting. So they're evidently trying to get a right back in the door. They're looking at another centre half. They're looking at a striker. These are the 3 areas for me that are probably were in most need. You could look at the left back area. Greg Taylor, he's put in another decent performance tonight. By not like outstanding, but steady again. So I think you can sort of get by with him for a wee while. But I think before this window closes, if we can get a right back, possibly another centre half, even if it's a loan, and another striker, especially if Edouard goes, and we keep progressing the way we're progressing, then everybody in Scotland, everybody in the Premier League, be very afraid, because I think
wow.
I think we're really going to start hitting the heights again. You can just see it. It's like I've watched Celtic for long enough, and I've watched enough football to see that the progression, and it's actually the progression in the way we're playing is a lot quicker than even positive me thought. But I think that the areas that we're targeting, rather than who we're targeting, because I don't know much about them, is the most pleasing thing for me at the moment.
Aye. No, I mean, yeah, you're absolutely right, and I agree. Teams they need to start looking at this, and I mean, like you said, especially in the SPFL, we're going to dominate teams in terms of possession, and the way we're playing, we're going to cut teams open, and it's damage limitation for a lot of these teams against us throughout the course of this season, I believe. And like you say, they need to be afraid, and you're absolutely spot on for me, because I think we're going to do some serious damage. See, the like say, and again, no disrespect to them, but like your Dundees and your like these other teams outside Aberdeen, Hibs, potentially Hearts. I don't Rangers. I didn't want to say their name, but, but outside of them, I mean, the rest of the teams in the SPFL, I don't think are going to be able to cope. And for 90 minutes, we're going to dominate possession, and we're going to be trying to cut them open, and I believe we will. And I think we're going to see a lot of score lines where we're scoring 3, 4, 5 goals a game. I genuinely believe that. And like you say, it's still early days, but the progression we've made is significant. And that sort of brings me a nice wee segue into the next sort of topic, and that is this coming Sunday. We've got the League Cup second round tie at home against Hearts, who obviously beat us the other week in the opening game of the season, and it's a chance for us to sort of put that right and let them know that was a one-off essentially, and it's not happening again. So it's your chance to sort of stamp your authority on that tie. And then just let them know and let everybody else see again that we are going to be a force this season, and we're not to be taken lightly. Last season is done and dusted. It's not the same team, and it's certainly not going to be the same team this season throughout the course of this season, and I think we can all see that. Just coming to yourself first then, Stephen. Obviously Sunday, I don't want to delve on it too much, because I can imagine that we're all going to be in agreement in terms of the likelihood of the lineups. But just what do you think? How do you think we're going to fare in the League Cup? Do you think this is a cup that we can bring back to Celtic Park? And do you think that we're going to be able to see Hearts off no bother?
Well, first of all, I'm going to the game, so it better happen that way. But I mean, I think it's a League Cup, Scottish Cup, the League Championship, every kind of trophy Celtic we need to go for it. I think this season we all kind of went into this season a wee bit pessimistic, a wee bit kind of anxious on what we're going to see. We heard lots of different views on how Postecoglou plays. It takes 6 months to a year to implement the style. But so far, touching wood here on the desk, it seems to be coming on quickly at Celtic. I think he's made a great point in regards to the quickness of Celtic's play, the way we're on the front foot always. I mean, the Jablonec game there, as we touched upon, we could have scored a barrel, but unfortunately some of the final passes weren't quite on point. But that's going to come. I mean, the Hearts game, for me, the opening game this season, it was terrible, to be fair. It was shocking. But slowly but surely, we're making steps in the right direction. And the League Cup should be a cup we should be aiming to win. I know people say it's kind of the Mickey Mouse Cup in Scotland and stuff. But again, if you want them trebles, if you want them trophies, we need everything. And Celtic need to be on top, especially getting into this season, in terms of the bounty that they face at the end of it and the Champions League, kind of the free entry to the group stage. I think the Hearts game, not to kind of be disrespectful or anything, but I think we'll smash them. I'll be honest. I think we'll grip them and we won't let go.
Yes.
We'll just ragdoll them and we'll make them look like boys. And that's what I hope happens.
I agree with that. Yeah.
The likes of Andy Halliday can go away, can F off, and do you know what I mean? Him opening his big mouth, even though he should have been sent off when he done that tackle against Cal McGregor. But honestly, man, it's opinion, John, we'll smash them up.
I agree, mate. And I think it's going to be a different animal on Sunday. And like you said, we're going to put it to rights and let them know that was a result. That, I mean, it was the first game of the season, but you can see even Dundee in the game against Jablonec as well, that the way we performed against Hearts, and we still dominated that game. Let's not kid ourselves. They caught us on the break twice, and they got 2 goals. But in another day, we beat them there. But I think we're even better now than we were then, and it's only been a couple of weeks. So I think you're absolutely right. I think they're going to spend 90 minutes in the main half, is what I believe. Mm-hmm. What about yourself, Franny?
I think we've all sort of been right and wrong, I feel like, John, on Sunday. Normally, obviously, the League Cup, like Stephen said, it's certain parts of it sort of thing. It's deemed as like the Diddy Cup and that. But with the final being, I'm sure the final is like November, December time, and that it can be a catalyst for your season. You get that winning feeling if you've obviously had a good start to the season stuff, and then you just kick on after that. So I think it is a trophy we should go for. And you normally, again with the League Cup, you normally make some changes, sometimes a lot of changes to give some fringe guys a game, but I don't expect many changes, if any. It might be 1 or 2 just because of playing tonight and stuff. We might take a couple of guys out, like Kyogo might not play or something like that, but be on the bench and things like that. So I don't expect wholesome changes just simply because we're in a process here to try to get to where we want to be in terms of how Postecoglou wants to play. So I don't think he's the type of guy that is going to change too much too soon in the sense of personnel. So yeah, I expect a sort of a similar lineup to tonight, maybe 2 max 3 changes, but nothing drastic. It'll not be like young boys coming in. It'll be maybe an Edward or an Ayeti coming in and stuff, or maybe a Beaton coming in or something. So it'll be experienced guys coming in, and with the game being at Parkhead and stuff, I do think we will really try and lay down a mark and just say, look, first game of the season was a fluke. This is what you're up against. I think it's another opportunity just to say, look, this is not like, it's just to put a marker down and that, just saying we've got to keep going. This is us.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I'm sure there'll be a lot of people listening who would agree with that statement as well. In terms of what you said about changes, I think I disagree slightly in that I don't think we're going to make terms of too much changes overall, but I still think it wouldn't surprise me if we see a Montgomery start or like you say, Beaton coming back in for some reason, but it wouldn't surprise me. Sorrow starting, you say Abada maybe, like from what I think Ange says prior to the game that he just pulled up in training. Prior and that he was all right, but they obviously didn't want to aggravate or push it. And so if he's all right, just giving him another run out, making sure you keep his fitness and that up. So I mean, I can suspect that there'll be some changes, but I still don't think Hearts are going to hear enough about them regardless, even if they put out their strongest team. personally. And you can say what you want, whether or not that's me being ignorant to Hearts or whatever the case is, or being overconfident. But I just genuinely don't see they've got. I don't think they've got enough about them. What about yourself, Ross?
I think it'll certainly be a tougher game than, like, say, the Dundee game or the Knights game. But I think if Celtic continue in the same vein, what they've been in the last two games and the way they've attacked, then there's no many teams in Scotland who'll be able to live with that when they're at full tilt. I think that Hearts will probably have a bit of joy at set pieces of that, but Celtic will just have to. I think they're certainly look a better defensive unit since the game at Tynecastle, and I don't think he'll change the back. I think that's his back four at the minute with Hart and goal. I think he'll want a bit of continuity with that and keep them playing together and getting an understanding. So I don't think there'll be too many changes there. I think you might see Rogic has played 2 games in a row now, I think. So I think he might come out the team. I think he might, if Abada's going to be fit, I think he'll come into the right. And I think he might bring Christie into where Rogic has been playing in the 10 role and maybe put Forrest over to the left. And I think that'll be about it, really. I think he'll still go with McGregor and Turnbull. I don't think... I know what you're saying, because it's a cup game, but like say bringing Montgomery and Sorrow in, but I think because it's Hearts are, although they're newly promoted, they've got a lot of good players and they won't be in a relegation dogfight this year. So I think he'll respect that, Postecoglou, and I think he'll go with his strongest possible team and try and get Hearts put away early if we possibly can. But I fancy us to win the game, certainly, if we continue in the same vein as what we have in the last 2 games.
Yeah, I mean that's fair as well. I mean, I can certainly see. I don't think Ange is the type that's going to just let up or change or rotate the team heavily. But like I say, it wouldn't surprise me if there's a couple of changes, especially bearing in mind we've got Alkmaar at home 4 days later.
True.
And that is the Europa League playoff, so that's a very important game. So taking everything into consideration, like I say, it's a couple of changes here and there would certainly be expected, at least for me. But I guess we'll see on Sunday. So just before we wrap everything up, and I just want to come to you quickly, and I know I said this last time, and we didn't get quick responses, which is fine. But just coming quickly, I just want to get a couple of quick score results. So just go yourself first, Stephen. What do you think the score's going to be Sunday?
4-0.
Scorers?
I'll go for Kyogo to get 2, Christie to get 1, and Abada to get the other.
What about yourself, Francis?
I'll go 3-0. And I think I'll give Ayeti 1, Turnbull and McGregor.
And Ross?
I'll go 3-1, and I'll give Christie, Turnbull and Kyogo.
I'm going to go with Stephen. I'm going 4-0. But I'm going to go Ayeti, Kyogo and Turnbull to get 2 again. Because I believe he's got enough about him to score quite a lot this year.
I'm really concerned here by who's all picked the Eddie. Do we know he's starting or something, or what's
No,
going on?
I'm just thinking the knock the night, maybe just Kyogo might not start.
Aye, and like I says, you've got Alkmaar 4 days after Hearts, so it wouldn't surprise me if you see some changes. That's why I think if you think about the bigger picture, Ayeti starting certainly doesn't seem too far-fetched. Anyway, boys, thanks again for coming on. As I said, I know it's quite late tonight because we've picked it up straight after the game. Obviously, this goes out tomorrow, so you'll be listening today, Friday, if that makes sense. I'm talking shite now. But, thanks thanks for joining us, boys. And Stephen, thanks again for coming on, mate. I know that you're dealing with a lot of stuff at the minute, but it's great to have you back. Obviously, we'll discuss what happens with the next episode, Monday's episode, or Tuesdays rather. We record on Monday. We'll see how obviously you're feeling, whether you're taking the hosting seat off me again, or if you want me to pick that up. But we'll obviously iron that out. You just need to tune in, everybody that's listening, on Tuesday to see if he's back in the hosting chair or not. And the quiz, I'll be back maybe We'll see.
Aye, well,
Aye.
just to let people know as well that obviously with all the stuff going on kind of in my life and stuff at the minute, I've kind of neglected the social media pages, but I will be getting back onto that, and I will be updating the Twitter and Instagram. But obviously, probably start that in the weekend, going towards the game against Hearts, because I'll be at that anyway, so I'll be able to update it from there. But yeah, guys, it's been great being come back on, and obviously, I appreciate everyone's support and stuff, and I appreciate you guys for keeping this podcast running and going.
Not
No,
at all.
you're
It's nice to
welcome,
hear your voice again.
Well, it's so cute, Francis.
No, but boys, Ross, Franny, you guys again, thanks for coming on. Like I said, I know it's late, and I appreciate you taking the time to obviously get this out of the line, because what is it? We're wrapping this, it's 10 to 11. So I appreciate it, boys, across the board. Thanks again, Stephen. Great to have you back, mate, as I says. Bye. Until next time. I'm not going to try it. Stephen, do you want to say it?
I really thought you were going to.
No. Stephen, do you want to say it? You want to say it?
Until next time, stay well and keep safe. Hail, hail.